I lose myself every day, the thought of losing you. Gotta make the changes to make it better, yeah, I self-improve. It only hurts me more and more that you ain't here to see it through. So it's one life, one chance, baby, I do this all for you. In this life we chose, boy, it's hard to make it. Mama raised us on our own, boy. That love is sacred. My cousin's gonna mama own. That's karma.
What's good with everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed. And like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. So with that being said, man, this is gonna be a long video. It's gonna be long because there's a lot of aspects that I gotta break down. Not to really justify my homie's actions, but just to try to shed some light on particular details and particular situations that should have been more important and should have been talked about more, but due to his circumstances, I mean, obviously it's too late. So with that being said, hit that subscribe button, hit that like, always leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Check the links in the description for my Apple and Spotify music. Go ahead and run my streams up, and you can check out my playlist section on my YouTube channel and check out my music right there. Thank you guys for you guys' time. Most importantly, thank you guys for you guys' support. Now, this video is about a homeboy of mine that just took his life the other day. And I'm going to stay away from a lot of the details, but I'm going to shed light on certain details. His name was Stephen McCaney, a.k.a. Ruthless. He was from Hanford. He was living in Exeter. He still was a certified rider, but he was a rider that was still in touch with me. But there's more to it than that. You know, he already knew that I walked away from the movement and I was doing my own thing, and he supported me throughout this whole endeavor. He didn't care. He knew what I was saying was true. He knew what I was doing was important. And then most importantly, he knew what was going on and how they were backstabbing me. And when I decided to say, you know what, I'm done with all this, bro. I'm just going to just be me. He supported me through it all. Only problem is I wasn't able to support him in his endeavors. And that makes it a little bit unfair and leaves me with a guilty conscience. So I meet this individual in Tehachapi, a level 4. He was a rider. I already had been a rider for like maybe 5 years. And we bonded pretty cool. We were in the same building. He was a couple of tiers, a couple cells down from me on the same tier. We did a battery together. We did 3 batteries together. I even gave him a black eye during the battery because he got in my way and I socked him in the face. So let me tell you about this kid. Went to jail because he got pulled over by some cops. Obviously, the cops in Hanford Police Department were, you know, bullying him, you know, being a little bit corrupt, you know, excessive use of force, and they called him the B word. And he didn't like that, so he was all tweaked out, and he got down with the cops. So he had assault on a police officer, and he goes to jail. But when he goes to county jail, he gets removed by the Northerners because on the streets he was tweaked out and he was fighting Northerners over just regular street beef and personal beef. Well, they wound up striking him up, saying that he was putting the hands on Northerners on the streets, and they removed him in county jail. So from county jail, you know, he does go to prison, he does go to SNY, and somehow, some way through his journey on the SNY, he becomes a rider. Now, knowing this individual, like I said, I've been celled up with them multiple times. I've been in ADSEG hole with them multiple times. I spent a lot of time with this kid on the yard. And I can tell you this, nobody, none of his family that are trying to be there for him now that he's gone, nobody, I was in prison almost 5 years, my last 5 years with this kid. Nobody was there for him. He didn't have nobody. His hustle was white lightning. That's what he taught himself. That's how he would make his money. He was one of those individuals where me, Boogie, a couple other individuals, other riders at the time, you know, we always made sure he was taken care of because nobody took care of him. We got him his TV. We got him all his clothes. He let us get a package in his name, and we'd give him like 40, 50 bucks, and he'll buy all his brand new clothes with that. He was fine with that. And all of us that were selling dope on the yard, any rider that didn't have nothing coming, we always give him like a 50 paper. Here, man, sell that for some canteen, get some canteen. Hey, do you need, we always went to the table and be like, hey, who needs anything? You need shirts, you need shoes, who needs what? And we make a list, and whatever dope we had left, I was just play money. We'd go find all these items on the yard, bring them back to the table and distribute them out to riders so everybody had something coming. Everybody was looking decent, looking proper, professional. Nobody was going without. But he was one of those individuals that we constantly had to look out for because we knew he didn't have nothing coming. And one thing that I don't like about the rider movement is this. When you have nothing to offer financially, because the rider movement, a lot of the education, a lot of the practices, a lot of the discussions and speeches, and it's always about money. What do you bring to the table? How you going to further the movement? How you going to benefit the movement financially? Because we didn't want no bums. We didn't want no leeches and scallywags, whatever terms they wanted to use. So there's a lot of pressure in being a rider in the penal system. You had to be about money. And so everybody had to have a hustle. And we built people and we taught one another how to make brownies, how to make delphines, how to make cereal bowls, how to make burritos and sell them, or, you know, make white lining, make pruno. You know, everything you had to be able to get a bag underneath that table every month of canteen, whether it was your money or somebody else's money. That was the pressure that we applied on one another. So he found his avenues. He found his sources. He figured it out. We'd give him a couple of papers when they were extra. He'd go sell them and then get high with one. But to him, based on he didn't have no finances to offer to the movement other than his primary hustle, his self-hustle that made him money, kept him his hygiene, kept him food in his locker. You know, he had nothing else to offer the movement. So Snoop's mentality is, if you ain't got nothing to offer this movement, then you better be the first one to raise your hand every time somebody needs to get battered and jumped and stabbed off the yard. So there's a lot of riders in this movement that honestly don't got money like that, but they ran to a brotherhood. They're there to impress people, and all they could do is just exert violence and display violence, and that's all they have to offer. So these individuals, and Ruthless is one of them, was the kind of type to always raise his hand because he had nothing else to give to his brotherhood, what he thought was a brotherhood. So he was the kind of type, my personal opinion, he gravitated toward the movement. He gravitated toward becoming a rider because he had nothing else. Nobody else was looking for him. He didn't have a hyena. He didn't have his girl until recently. And his whole thing was, I got to impress these guys. And sometimes I seen it like, bro, you're doing too much, bro. You're just trying to stand out, to look good, so they can love you and appreciate you. He did it for attention. He did it for acceptance. He did it because he wanted to belong to something, because he didn't belong to nothing. Everybody in his life turned their back on him. He got put in an ugly predicament. The Norteños turned their back on him when he was just going one-on-ones with Northerners on the streets and they beat him up for it. He felt betrayed by everything and everybody. So he latched onto the rider movement to be accepted. So he can feel like, you know, people notice him, that he exists, that he has an existence. That's what I got from this kid. I always felt bad for him. I always looked out for him. I always made sure he had something. I made sure that, you know, I always checked in on the kid. Every time we were in the hole, I made sure I settled up with them. We'd have a great time. Then we split ways. We'd come back to the yard. I'd try to settle up with him again. You know, he was a cool dude. It's just he always ended up in the predicaments that I ended up in. So that's why we did multiple batteries together. And when I tell you the batteries that we did together, all three of them are funny stories. I'm like a hero to that kid. So anyways, he paroles. He gets out after catching some extra time, and I hear about it, and he's in a transitional housing unit, and he's talking about getting a job. And the first thing I told him, the advice I told him, I go, look, bro, you're going to have access to a lot of drugs out here. And this is the time that I was a rider pushing the movement in Tulare County. And I was like, look, bro, all the riders are right here, but they're all tweakers, bro. They're all flocking neighbors. They're all burglarizing. They're all just jacking for a sack, bro. Like, stay clean, bro. Me and somebody else, the only other person I messed with at the time that's a rider, we had jobs. We did all the family stuff. I was trying to encourage this dude to do right, but it didn't go right. He didn't want to be in that transitional housing unit. He started talking to a girl. The girl said she has a spot for him. He went there in Exeter, and it turned out pretty bad, real bad. He was exposed to a lot of drugs. He was exposed to a lot of negativity. All the riders that he wound up just linking up with, like I said, the same mentality he had in prison, he took it to the streets. He wanted to be accepted. He wanted to belong to something. He wanted to show that he was there. He wanted to impress the riders. All the riders did in Tulare County for this man was drag him down, didn't allow him to be focused, put the pipe in his hand, which he made those decisions by choice. He could have said no, like I've always said no. But he put himself in this predicament just to belong to something, like he's always done, and it dragged him down. That's why I try to teach these kids, man, like, man, don't do nothing to impress others. Just do it for yourself. I'll be damned if I raise my kid that he has to sit there and impress other people and he has to be accepted by other people. No, my kid's going to be taught that he's his own man. He has his own mind. He has his own way of thinking. He's a leader. But a lot of these kids and a lot of people that I've been locked up with, they were never leaders. They've never held leadership positions. They were always followers, feeling like it was their obligation to impress the next man, to belong to the next man, to feel like they exist towards other men, from other men. So that's what his thing was. And we talked for a few months, and I kept getting on his bumper like, bro, you need to get a job, bro. And he was doing temp jobs for a little while and then quitting them. So I cut him off for a little bit. I was like, bro, you're lacking ambitions, bro. There's no excuses. No excuses whatsoever. I came out here. I've been applying to full-time jobs. I had 3 full-time jobs. You know, I made a commitment to stay out of trouble, and you're going down that drain, and I don't want to do that. I don't want no association with you, bro, because I can see that everybody you're associating yourselves with, all the riders out there, they're bringing you down. They got you hooked on drugs. You're running the streets. You're breaking into stuff. You're doing all kinds of stuff, and you hooked up with just the first girl that gave you attention, and you fell in love, and, you know, it is what it is, man. I wanted nothing but the best for this kid, and I couldn't teach him. I couldn't get him to go on the right track. All the rest of the riders on the streets got a hold of him, and he just went buck wild. So it is what it is. Well, there was a time where he was actually in Tulare, and I was going to work, and he called me. He's like, hey, fool, I got an Airbnb right here in Tulare, bro. What's good? And I was like, hey, you know what? You know, I had some points to shave, and I was like, man, I only had like 2 points. I can get like 12. I was like, I'm gonna go kick it with you tonight, bro. I wanted to take him out to eat. I wanted to take him to have a good time. Maybe go take him to like T-Town in Tulare and buy him a couple of outfits. None of that went down. I walked into an Airbnb full of smoked out people, tweaked out people. And I was frustrated because I had my girl at the time when I put myself in an ugly predicament that I needed to get out of. But I kept lecturing them. But while I was there, it was a good Airbnb. And I wound up doing a music video right there, Rabbit Season. I did the first version of it right there, and then I wound up doing other clips later on. So it's me and him. He has his tattoos, all his rider logos, and we have a bunch of straps in there, and I'm just waving them at. I'm just doing my diss track to the Northerners. He's in a lot of the scenes, and then I go do the video, and a couple other days later in the North Side, I do the video, upload it, and I let him know, hey, bro, I got you famous, bro. We're gonna get famous off this one. That was my mistake. That's one of the biggest reasons why I took the music video down too. It's because he got identified as a rider by the Northerners in Exeter and Visalia. And then they started shooting up his house where he lived at in Exeter. So I put him in the worst predicament possible. But then, like I said, he knew I was going to put the music video out. He wanted to be in the music video out. He chose to be. But it still leaves me with a guilty conscience. Because now he got into a wreck. People were lighting him up. They told him, the Northerners walked up to him, told him he has a week to leave that house, so they're going to keep lighting it up until he bounces or they kill him. So whatever happens, happens. I tried to help him out the best that I could, but instead, he didn't want my help. He wanted the riders' help. And obviously, it didn't work out for his situation. So months go by. I find out he moved out of that area. Him and his girl are having issues. He's going to Hanford. He's trying to sober up. He's trying to look for jobs. And I'm encouraging him, like, man, stay on that righteous path, bro. But we had conversations on that phone, and he was depressed. He was depressed because his relationship wasn't working out for whatever reason. He was depressed because when he needed everybody the most, when he was going at it with the Northerners, when he was strung out on drugs, when he needed a place to stay, when he needed clothes, when he needed a shower, nobody was helping him out, not even his family. The riders weren't helping him out. And he was feeling betrayed, and he was like, bro, I'm going to cut everybody off, and I'm just going to get off social media because, like, nobody's looking out for me. He had that same mentality from us babying him in the penal system. He thought it was going to be the same out here. Well, look, I can't open up my door to you, bro, because I have kids in my house. I have a family. I have a job. This is my peace. This is my safe haven. I'm going to help you out in the best way possible. I would have got him a hotel for a day, but what's a day going to do? It's not going to make a difference. So I know he was going through it mentally. He had tattoos on his face just like me, but I got a job and he got little jobs here and there, but he would quit them and then he would go on these tweaker runs. You know, I seen him spiraling out of control. But he was substituting success for friendship and brotherhood. And that's where he lost the battle, is that he chose to be with friends. He chose to depend on friends instead of just, for once, standing up and saying, bro, I got to do this myself like I did. And that's what he went down the wrong path. He used to always talking about, you know, no jobs wanted to hire him because his face tattoos and he don't like these punk jobs that they're giving him. It's hard work for cheap pay. And I'm like, look, bro, I did those hard work jobs for cheap pay. And so I finally got a full-time job. And then I was only working $15 an hour until I busted my butt for 2 years and I started getting paid $21.90 an hour. It takes time, bro. It takes time, but you need to lay off the alcohol. You need to lay off the dope, bro. You need to stay focused. And due to everybody not helping him, I know this kid, bro. He was the kind of type to turn to a substance because there was nothing else to do. That's how he distracted his mind, was just tweaking and heroin, tweaking and heroin. I could not fight this kid's battle. And as much as I tried to push him, I couldn't get nowhere with him. So finally, I just cut him off again. Like, bro, like, you got to figure it out, bro, because I can't carry you. I'm doing everything my damn self. I carry so much on my shoulders that it's hard for me to even fathom that I can actually do this by myself. And I'm dealing with the same mental illness that you're dealing with. Feeling abandoned in prison. Feeling like you got to belong to something to feel accepted, to feel like you exist. I share those same feelings because I still deal with them today. You know, this is the hardest part about being on YouTube is, yes, the obligation is, you know, videos as much as I can, entertaining as much as I can, trying to become popular while half the population hates me, calls me a dropout. Every other comment calls me a PC, or I'm working with cops, or I'm a snitch, I'm this. And, you know, I got to battle with that while I'm battling the struggle to succeed with this YouTube or to succeed in my job. But like I told you guys in a video a long time ago, I joined Northern Structure to become somebody, to be a powerful leader. When I didn't work out for me and I became a writer, I managed to become successful in becoming an influential leader as well. Even though Snoop was the president at the time, I was still a very influential leader because of my education, because of my approach to matters, because I've held leadership positions. I feel like I could be a good leader, and that didn't work out for me. So I remember talking to Tawny one day, dealing with a lot of stuff, and I was like, look, man, I got reduced to nothing. All my life, I strived for something. All my life, I wanted to become somebody, and I ended up becoming nothing. I ended up just being a YouTuber. I ended up being just a man that goes to work. You know, I was talking down on a lot of stuff when I shouldn't have, knowing damn well, like, all these people that go out here and work and, you know, they're not looking for the power and the fortune and the fame like I am. So what they have is more than enough because they are who they are, and there's somebody to a family, there's somebody to some kids, there's somebody to a spouse, a significant other. So it's just me in my head being overly ambitious, and that tears me apart every day. That's why I'm still committed to this YouTube channel, because to me, being able to get in front of this camera and talk to you guys is my mental stability to know, like, I may not be a prison gang leader or a powerful mafioso, but I'm somebody today. By this YouTube channel, whether it gets the views or it doesn't get the views, I'm still somebody today. People listen to me. People want to hear what I have to say no matter what it is. So many messages every day on Instagram and Snapchat and through text messages and emails from subscribers that are just sending love and appreciation. Like, I became somebody. Now I battle with, like, how to be that person every day now, and how far can I take this person. So I understand what he was going through, because he was that kind of ambitious kid where he just wanted to be somebody to somebody, but nobody was acknowledging him. And nobody was taking care of him because they looked at him like a little kid that needed to be babied. So I know what he was dealing with when it came to that. I also know the battle it is for substance abuse, because I used to be hooked on it forever. I mean, there was times where I was his cellie and I got black, and I know that he didn't have nothing on it. He just had like the basic essentials: 2 bars of soap, 1 deodorant, 1 shampoo, couple of suits, but he had his clothes. And I'll be like, bro, you got hygiene that lasts you another month. You can figure it out in a month. Make a batch of Pruno. I could have sold this dope and gave myself like 20 bucks, gave him 30 bucks, and our lockers would have been decent. But instead, I was like, hey, fool, put this in a spoon. You know, I contributed to sometimes him getting high and getting strung out because he was my cellie. So that's another part of my guilty conscience, is like, man, all of us that try to take care of him weren't even taking care of him, because we got him to do all this violence. We got him to do all this drugs. So when we didn't teach him nothing other than drugs and violence. So when he came home, that's all he ran to, because that's all he knew was drugs and violence. So much it's so much to call this a brotherhood We don't even realize that we were destroying each other because of our brotherhood. And we led him down a path. We let a 20-something-year-old kid who was young-minded, who never been in the main line, who all he wanted to do is be liked and be accepted and be a friend and be a brother to somebody and be appreciated and be acknowledged. We led him down this path that destroyed themselves. All of us need to take responsibility for it. So I do understand what he was mentally going through. Everybody treating him like crap. Relationships not working out. And cool thing about it is that the only aspect I'm going to share about this situation is that he was actually sober. And something happened that triggered him where it pissed him off and he got mad. And his own family member got him strung out again. Just said, you know what? Forget it, bro. Let's go get high. And just open that door for him to say, you know what? I'll go get high then. That's the best that I can do. And dragged him back into his addiction after being sober for quite some time. And his mind couldn't take it no more. And he decided to say, you know what? I'm done. And he broke. He broke because he wasn't taught well. He wasn't educated well. He was misled and misguided by his friends and his fellow peers. He was only taught that the solution to every problem was turn to a drug and turn to a substance. And it's very unfortunate because I can't make excuses for it, because I came home and as soon as my feet hit the pavement, bro, I wanted a job. I wanted to work. I wanted to get a car. I want to know what it's like to have my own car. I want to know what it's like to have my own apartment. I want to know what it's like to, you know, be in bed with a woman again and just be sober. Like, I don't want to be a misguided kid anymore. I wanted to be a grown man. But I do know a lot of my homies that did come out that went straight to the streets because they didn't know no better. They weren't taught no better. They didn't want to know no better. The system didn't help. And I know it was hard for this kid to break that drug addiction. I broke it, and I got to commend myself for the strong mentality that I have that, bro, I don't even want to be in the room and smell a beer. I don't want to smell a beer. I don't. Like, that's how much I'm scared of it and I'm afraid of it. I don't want to be around it. And I'm missing out on so many opportunities in my life just because of the simple stuff like that. Like, I don't want to be around these environments. So I know the battle it takes for me every day to stay away from drugs and not just say, you know what, I'm tired of being miserable. I'm tired of being depressed. I'm tired of being stressed out. You know, I can solve all my problems with the same solution that he did, and that's chase a drug and just throw it all away and just get high and just blank my mind. But I choose not to. But doesn't mean I can't be sympathetic to know that what he was battling with, those demons, that addiction, he didn't have the same strength as me, but that doesn't make me better than him. It doesn't. He was just too young at the time to deal with it. And he had a lot on his plate. And he broke finally. Just like I broke before in the last 3 years that I was out. But when I broke, there was people there to uplift me when I cried. There was a rider that was actually there who gave me a hug and told me to go home and come back. And, you know, he'll talk to me on my day off. And he uplifted me. My mom was there when I broke mentally and I cried. You know, my brother was there. There was people there that pushed me forward. When I broke down and cried and said, bro, I just quit, bro. Like, I don't like this out here. I don't like that I'm so bashful. I don't like that in person I'm shy around women. I don't like that I can't make friends. I don't like that I don't know how to have conversations with people. I don't like that people ignore me. I don't like that nobody accepts me. They put more pressure on me because I'm a convicted felon and I need to work harder. So I need to bust my butt at the work just to show that I deserve this job. You know, so much came into play and I broke, but I came back. He broke and didn't come back. And I don't want to have that survivor's guilt while I'm sitting here thinking like, man, is there anything else I could have done for him? Because I tried the best that I could. And when I finally ignored him and I was like, bro, there's nothing I could do for you. You're just going to go back to jail. And I've told many riders this before I decided to walk away. Like, bro, you guys are all heading back to jail. You guys didn't learn nothing about prison, about coming home and just wanting to do better. Everybody wants to be thugs. It's ridiculous, bro. Like, we're all in our 30s, bro. Grow the fuck up. But nobody wanted to listen to me, so I just kept going. And there's nothing I could have did for this kid. But now that he's gone, I feel like, you know, maybe that extra step or that extra effort, if I wouldn't have ignored him to help him out, maybe during that time when he was finally sober, I could have encouraged him. But he was surrounded by just the wrong people. the wrong people that fed into his addiction, that fed into his misery, that fed into his depression, but most importantly, pretending like they cared and pretending like they were there for him and just abandoned him to the point that he was left in that room and he did what he had to do to say, you know what, I give up. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares about me. Nobody's here to support me. And I'm so sick and tired of this addiction. And that's a big thing about people coming out of jail is that we all come out ready to have fun. We all come out ready to live life and explore, to be with the woman again, to be with our families again, to eat real barbecue food. But in reality, we're not dealing with what's inside our head and confronting the problems that are inside our head, or acknowledging the habits that we have and the aggressions that we have and the anger issues that we develop, or the violent tendencies that make us vulnerable to society because we can't adjust. Like me, I can't be in big crowds. Me, I can't have a conversation with somebody more than 30 minutes because then I start feeling like uncomfortable and like I need to go home, or I need to be boxed in this little ass room right here all day to feel comfortable. Like the institutionalization, and we don't come out here fully prepared to embrace the realities of living life and enjoying freedom and knowing what freedom is because we forgot about it so long. I'm still working on it to this day. Trust me, a lot of my subscribers are like, man, if I'm ever in your area, man, we can link up and meet. And you don't know how bad I would like to meet the subscribers that support me, to show them that I'm a humble individual, to show them that I care, that they care, that I care about their support, that I care that they watch my videos, that they're helping me out financially by watching my videos. You know, I want to show that encouragement and that love back, but I'm afraid to step out of my house because I'm afraid of what's going to take place. Am I going to lose it? Somebody else going to lose it? A lot of factors come into play. What this kid did is he didn't work on himself. He came out to the streets, ran straight to the streets and got swallowed in it. Swallowed in it, and he could not handle the pressure of the streets or handle the pressure of just doing good and changing. This is why a lot of my message is for the kids, because they're doing the same thing that he did, is they want to go out there and impress people. They want to go out there and be part of something. They're doing everything for everybody else. But you're going to end up in a predicament like this guy did, and you're going to realize that when it all said and done, nobody's there for you. And if you do have somebody there for you, you probably burn them bridges to the point they're only going to assist you so much because everybody just cares about themselves when they come out of jail. In his circumstance, nobody cared about him other than what he could do for them. And when he couldn't provide nothing, everybody abandoned him and went chase the sack and went and found other friends and just left him there in his own misery. Now he doesn't have that chance to fix things. He doesn't have that chance to finally grow up and be a man and say, you know what? These are my problems. This is what I'm going through. This is what I need to correct. These are the changes that I need to make. You know, he threw away a lot by making this decision. But what is a person going to do when they have nothing left? Nothing left and nobody to turn to. That's why I feel like it's important to always have a support system. That's why it's important to not burn bridges and hurt people and betray people and destroy friendships and destroy family. Because there's going to come a point in time, bro, where you're going to need somebody. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how much times you say, you know, I can stand on my own. I don't need nobody. I say that every fucking day. But deep down, man, I'm in a different state, in a city where I don't know nobody, just the people at work. And I go to work, come home. And once I'm home, if I don't call California to see my son and talk, if I don't take the initiative, I'm stuck in this house by myself, afraid to walk out that door because I don't know what's out there. So I'm just in my house by myself, dedicated to doing YouTube, dedicated to answering what's on my phone. I got reduced to some almost nothing, but I'm doing it for the sake of my family, to protect my family. I'm willing to go through what I need to go through mentally, whatever that battle is, to ensure my family's safety, to ensure that I'm building this channel so I can give my kids a great future. And whatever life throws at me and whatever God has planned for me, I'll accept it when that happens. For now, I don't mind my conditions and what I'm doing now. I just don't want to break again like I did before. Because each time that I broke back then, it was worse than the first one. And I definitely don't want to reach the point where my boy did when he realized nobody was there for him. That his only option left, instead of just trying to enjoy life, was to take his own life and lose it. We don't know what happens after this life. And he's never going to get that chance to fix it. So his situation is a reminder to myself, like, look, man, me and that dude had so much in common when it came to depression. We stressed about the same things. We had the same mental disability when it comes to anger issues, violent tendencies, the propensity to lash out at people, not wanting to be in crowded areas, wanting to be confined in close quarters. We've talked about all this, substance abuse, everything. So his problems were like my problems. We were just mirror reflections of one another. He just broke and quit, and I didn't. So I'm going to share stories about him in the near future for you guys, you know, to keep his name alive, because he deserves the recognition, because I know that's what he strived for. Most importantly, was just for people to know that he was there, that he existed. And at the end of it all, man, nobody even cared until it happened. Nobody was there for him, and that sucks. It really sucks. So my best advice to everybody here is, man, if you have somebody to turn to, if they're a call away, if they're in that same house, you know, appreciate their presence. Don't take it for granted, because certain people, you know, they live for that. They live to put smile on other people's faces. They live to walk in that room and light up the room and make everybody smile and know that their presence makes other people feel good and happy and content. You know, show other people that they're not alone if you feel like they're alone. We have to acknowledge that every single one of us has problems. But if we're there for somebody, we call somebody a friend, a family, a supporter, we have to be able to acknowledge and read the room and read these people and extend our hands instead of being selfish, saying like, oh, well, I got my own personal problems. I'm just going to go to my house and get on my phone and watch TikTok and smile and laugh and whatever the crap you do. Remember, there's always somebody in your life that needs help, that just ain't asking for it. You know, make sure to acknowledge that, and make sure that if you can, help somebody out, man, because a lot of people are in a position I am that have lost a friend or family due to this kind of condition, you know, of taking their own lives. And it leaves you with that thought, like, what could I have done to fix it? What could I have done to help them? How come I didn't acknowledge it? How come I didn't see it? You know, I don't want nobody to be left with that guilt. But you don't owe nobody nothing. You just got to find the kindness in your heart and the compassion to know, like, man, maybe if you could do something for somebody small to make a difference, to stop them from reaching that breaking point, just do so. That's all I got to say for today. So with that being said, like I always say, it's one life, one chance. When they got one chance to do this right, let's get it done. Peace.